Welcome to Amazing Indiana Music Stories.
Born and raised here in Indiana, in Newcastle. And I think I originally got into music because I didn't want another class that had homework.
That's a good one.
And little did I know it was going to be the most homework of my entire life. But starting out in basically junior high with a snare drum, and then on into high school, I got into jazz and big band with the high school dance band and stuff like that. So I came from that kind of a swing band era. I was taught by a guy from right here in town, Jack Guilfoyle, another famous drummer from around here. Very, very great person.
Another influential person.
Very, very. Yeah, he played with everyone. And I think I first decided to play drums is when I heard, believe it or not, it was a jungle tune, and it was just kept going.
The rudiments.
And for some reason, I thought that was cool. I don't know why, but I could do it, so
yeah.
I would play along with that. No. It was something about the lion in the jungle or something.
Oh, it was Lion Sleeps Tonight?
The Lion Sleeps Tonight. Thanks, Carl.
So what was the first record you bought?
Probably that one.
Yeah.
So just so I'd have something to play along with. I was on my own at the time and didn't know, no teacher at that time.
So are you from Newcastle too?
No, I'm actually born and raised in Tennessee until I was 6. Then we came to Indiana, and I got my musical influences while I was a kid in Tennessee, though. I mean, my grandmother sang. She played every instrument you can imagine. And my grandfather was a music teacher, so I kind of lend my achievements to earlier days when I sang and played with my grandma and grandpa.
That's pretty cool. We hear that a lot from people.
Oh yeah,
It comes from the family.
I'm sure.
And you and then moved to Indianapolis or Indiana to Newcastle?
No, Muncie to move there when I was about 5 or 6, and that's where I ended up. Every summer, though, we'd go back. My sister and I would go back to Tennessee and get a little dose of what we grew up with.
The bluegrass on the porch.
Right.
Primarily.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, I mean that's where it started. First, do you remember what was the first record you bought?
I do. It's called Denise. You remember that one?
I remember the title. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, but I was going to tell you about, I started singing when I was really young with my grandmother, and I copied Elvis, or tried to, because I loved Elvis. And I said, Grandma, does this sound like Elvis? And I sang, and she said, oh, honey, don't learn those old devil songs.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Give us a little Elvis right now.
Oh, God, that's kind of you know what I want, you know it's what I need. That's enough, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's going on the radio.
Oh, no.
So now you're in Newcastle and you're in Muncie.
Right.
And Dave, we just go back a little bit. So you had some bands. We're gonna lead up to Chosen Few. So you had some other bands with Dave Bennett and some other bands, and played quite a bit before 1968, right?
Right.
In the 60s,
yeah.
You were playing in bands.
I was playing in the early 60s. I had my first band was called the Dixieland 4 plus 3 minus 2.
Wow.
5-piece band. Anyway, and that was the first time playing, and the first time I ran into our guitar player, was going to be our guitar player, and I ended up working with Dave Bennett my whole life. He's from Newcastle also.
Yeah,
and
so that was that Dave and the Dynamics, and then also another one, yeah?
Yes, right after that, Dave and the Dynamics, and if we were having a good night, I was Dave, and the dynamics. And if we were having a bad night, I just pointed to Dave Bennett.
That's Dave.
Said, that's Dave.
If you don't like the band, that's Dave. That's the one to talk to. That's
Yes.
good. That's good. And then, so does that bring you up to Chosen Few?
No, we right out of high school, we were playing little jobs around universities and high schools. We went to a club in Ohio, and we were a house band there for about a year and a half, called the Triangle. It was Greenville, Ohio. It was very famous. Everybody went there because you could drink 3-2 beer when you were 18 years old.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, yeah. So we were there for that whole time, and the Chosen Few came over and heard us there, and took Dave Bennett and I from the band.
Got you guys both at the same time. Carl, bring us up to date, and how was your first, any bands before Chosen Few?
Oh, yeah. A gob of them.
Surfs.
I don't remember.
Didn't you have the Surfs?
Surfs was the first band, and that's meaning SERF. As, you know, poor people in England.
Yeah.
But everybody thought we were. Am I putting enough imagining?
You're just fine.
Okay, I'm sorry about
perfect.
that. But the Surfs, poor people, that was our first name, and then I went right to the Chosen Few.
So you were already in the Chosen Few before the Daves show.
Yeah, we went over to the Triangle and shopped Benny and Barnesy here because we heard about these great players, you know, and so we went over and heard these guys, and wow, these guys were great. Hired them, fortunately.
Was John Casella already in Chosen?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Johnny was there.
So, but then when you joined, you had two singers, and also and like Jack Hamilton or somebody on
Yeah,
bass. And
Jack Hamilton, Johnny, and myself.
And then the two Daves joined.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, cool. So see how easy that was?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh.
so now we've got the Chosen Few, and the Chosen Few were one of the really popular bands around here. And in
At that-
Muncie, it was the Chosen Few and the
Ritual?
well,
Other
the Ritual's
five?
a little later. I'm thinking of
The other five?
the other five. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the two bands that were kind of the,
Chosen Few and the other
and
five.
the
Yeah.
Ball State kind of linked kind of Muncie bands.
Was.
And so Chosen Few did some records before the RCA deal.
Yes.
So there were some singles then on another
Right.
label or something. And then at some point then the Chosen Few album on RCA recorded in Chicago.
It was Talon Records was the single.
Oh, it was? So it
on,
was
on
TRC.
Talon, TRC.
Yeah, so the Talon recording company.
That would be
In Chicago, yeah.
Pink Clouds and Lemonade.
Yeah. That was the first actual single we did. Written by Larry Korn.
Okay. Is it a friend from here? Or
No,
you
we
just
never
found the tune?
we never actually met him. I don't
Just found the
think.
tune and did it.
He
So that
wrote
was
it.
on the radio in Muncie, obviously.
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah, yeah,
think
right
it-
along with Tommy James kind of stuff.
I think it made number 1 or 2 in Muncie.
Yeah.
back then you could do that.
You could do that. Local stations played local stuff, and then
Yes.
and then you'd go see them at the pool party that weekend.
Exactly.
That's right.
I did the same thing. So then the album on RCA, The Chosen Few, and then at some point you guys heard a band from New York called Beggar's Opera, and met Mark Colley.
They were coming through. They were headed for the West Coast, never made it past Muncie. They were staying in a hotel, I believe, in Anderson at the time, yeah. And we went to hear them, a tremendous band, and that's where we heard Mark Colley play bass.
We were knocked out. We heard that bass player.
And then that band went back to New York, and you grabbed
We
up-
kept
grabbed
Mark.
up- grabbed up Mark. And so what he brought to the band was a lot of songwriting.
Yes,
Exactly.
A
absolutely.
lot of the tunes that they had been doing.
A lot of broken beer bottles too.
Yeah. So then we those tunes, and the next thing that you did then was the Limousine album.
Right.
Right, so you changed your name from Chosen Few to Limousine, released that record, and then almost instantly what happened?
We were. You want to tell them?
You go.
Okay. We were swooped up by a guy named, well, did Pierre Mayhew? He just produced us. Didn't he?
He produced us and ruined our first album. And then when the hit record that Carl wrote was released in more than one state, it was considered fair game. And
So anyone could record it.
so we had a drummer decide to.
Elton John's drummer.
Oh no, I'm not. We're not up to that.
Oh, we're
okay.
not?
We're,
Okay.
we're getting Terry Knight and taking the Limousine Master and making the
Oh,
Faith.
Terry.
Oh, yeah.
The Limousine and the Faith album are basically the same album.
They are.
Yeah.
He just
same song.
He just remixed them a little.
Yeah, and so for a period of time, you were signed to Terry Knight and couldn't sign with any other label.
No, and he had been laughed out of the business by that time. He did a promo for us that was absolutely ridiculous, trying to make it seem as though we're unknown superstar players with only our thumbprints and never a
Yeah, our
signature.
contract. He wouldn't let us. Our names. He didn't want to.
Right,
should
right.
be out.
And the billboard on Hollywood Boulevard.
And we were thinking, well, as soon as your record comes out, our album, it's the same as the other one. People are going to figure it out instantly.
Well,
Everybody's going to know who it is. You know.
It's that was quite an interesting period.
Yeah.
Carl, you have something you want to add?
well, the rock. What was that magazine? Rock. They figured out all this stuff
Rolling
and
Stone?
exposed. Rolling Stone. They figured out all this stuff and exposed it. And so,
Yeah, that was the end of that.
yeah.
Yeah, he just dropped out of the scene, but he wouldn't release the band for some reason.
So at some point, then we move forward and become an artist on Village Records.
We
Exactly.
do. We changed
Those
our
guys
name
actually saved us from breaking up because they just put some money into us and kept us going, and we saw there was hope. Instead of this awful thing we faced.
Just look at how far it progressed from the Limousine recordings.
Oh, yeah.
To the Village recordings. In quality and the writing,
Oh,
and
yeah.
performance and everything. So, what was there? Four records on Village? Excuse me. And
I think so.
yeah.
Face
it
to
was more.
face.
So that was a local Broad Ripple label with distribution nationally through Mercury, and now we get up to what you were talking about, Dave, on the Rock and Roll Man's album. Dancin Shoes, right?
Yes, I'm sorry I got ahead of us there. Yeah.
Yes, which was a Carl tune, and like you said, once it's released, somebody else can do it,
Exactly.
And so it was charted by both.
Yes,
You just charted
both
Real
of
High,
us.
and yours was just into the top 100.
You're right.
So we get all the way through all the Village Records releases. We get ourselves up to about the time that the band actually broke up was like 81-ish, something like that.
That's probably close.
Yeah,
Yeah.
81,
Close
82,
enough.
right in there. Yeah.
So after that, then I know each of you played in a lot of bands in the 80s.
Right.
You played with Benny in some things, yeah.
And Chooch.
Uh-huh.
I was with Chooch and the Enchanters for a year or two.
And Carl, you had bands in the 80s.
Boy, yeah, I think I went to Cincinnati and played with some Moroccan guys.
Yeah.
And that I left the state for, about 6 months or
Maybe,
7,
yeah.
8. And that proved to be a bizarre thing. Moroccan roll is what we called it.
Uh-huh.
And those guys were pretty nuts. The nurses that lived across the street from us kept saying these guys hugged a lot and, "Oh, okay, my friend, and the girls across the street thought we were all gay guys. And that really broke my heart when I found that out.
That's funny. That's a story I hadn't
Yeah.
heard. And then you had a Carl Storie band. When Moviola, was that your band too? And
Kind of, yeah. Mark was in the band then, and he and I were always kind of partners.
Yeah, and that I forgot that brings us up to Blinding Tears with Mark.
Oh yeah, that was a fun thing. We did that in England, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Mark wrote all the songs, but two. I wrote the other ones, the other two that made it to the album. But that was quite an experience to go over to England and do England and Paris, France, to record when all you've seen is just a little. I don't know, little local. Yeah, what would you call it?
Muncie.
Yeah, Muncie.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, that's my claim to fame.
Cool. That's cool. So now let's. I know both of you have been active even since then. Alligator Brothers, did some other stuff with Benny. Until at some point, well, Dave, you're not completely retired. You're still playing a little bit. Carl, are you singing at all anymore?
Not yet, but I'm talking to guys about putting something together for the spring.
Good.
And we're going to start looking into booking for the summer.
Good.
You know, just some shows, not heavy duty stuff, but some light concerts. You know, for
Summer festival things.
Yeah, for Pabst Blue Ribbon or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, is that how you get paid?
Yeah.
Yeah, we remember that.
Is that going to be an all-girl band?
Yeah.
So think about and let me know what is one or two of the most memorable experiences or shows from your career. I know you got to open for a lot of great acts during the Village Records years. Just one or two things that stands out as, boy, that was really fun. Maybe it's not live, maybe it's in the studio or Dave.
Yeah, definitely. We did a couple of shows, and oftentimes musicians in general seem to be gentlefolk and fun and warm, and we found that to be true with the Allman Brothers and with the Doobie Brothers, both.
Yeah,
we got to open for both.
Great guys.
Yes, the Doobie Brothers just came into our dressing room and just hung out. And at the end of their show, which is, headlining, they would come back for their encores and they would drag us up on stage with them. And they used 2 drum kits.
Yeah.
And so I got to take over one of the drum kits, and everybody was on stage playing.
They were the
with them.
nicest guys.
And they still are.
No,
They still are.
oh yeah, really? You probably know that better.
John Cooper's mixed them quite a bit when he's not out.
Wow, that's nice.
He said that they're like the best people to work for.
Yeah.
Carl, what's some cool stuff you remember that stands out when you think back?
The thing that stood out the most when you said that, I was trying to think of something great, but I think the most that stood out for me was getting kicked out of Stevie Nicks' dressing room.
All right.
Yeah, I went back to take her some wine, and I was feeling pretty cocky. And I was going, I had the rocket in my pocket and everything was cool. And I was going in and she was playing and she looked pretty serious on the piano. And right after I got in the doorway, she looked at me and said, "Get out of here." Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, I just felt like a little kid that had been spanked. And my heart just sank because I was so ready for Stevie Nicks.
I could add to that too. That was in South Bend, Indiana, at the venue downtown. It's old theater.
I don't remember that.
In anyway, and
South Bend, yeah. I've been to theater.
Yeah. You may have played there. We opened, and Fleetwood Mac played, and both bands together did not sell that place out. It was just before the Rumors album. They were playing the Rumors music live, but they hadn't released the album. And Mick Fleetwood was fantastic. They were great. And he said the same thing, took me over to the room where Stevie Nicks was. And she was wrapped up in one of the long curtains that was in front of the window, wrapped up like a kind of like a mummy, and didn't really acknowledge that I was there. But he said,
You got closer than you did.
well, but Mick Fleetwood just said, she's very young.
Oh my gosh.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's very cool.
So what? My last question. What's your advice to musicians that are coming up now? Because we all know the industry is much different. Advice is how to best frame a career and actually make a living as a musician or a songwriter.
That's a tough, yeah. Well, I kind of asked John Mellencamp how he did that. I said, how'd you get, just sitting around, you're around here in Indiana just like we are. And he said, I pounded those guys. I was on the phone, and he said, I didn't wait on my manager to do it. I called. I found out who to call, all the appropriate. And he said he just pounded them until they just had to come and see him. And that's what he said. I never did that. I never had the call to do that. We had found somebody with that, a manager of some sort that would do those calls for us, but he didn't trust anybody to do the phone calls for him. He did it himself, and I find that very admirable, actually. So, but we never had to. We always had some kind of a manager, or if we didn't have, we'd stick the name of manager onto one of our best friends or something. You're the manager, but
Right. Dave, advice?
I wish I had something real prolific, but I think it's tough out there. It's real tough. Good music's everywhere. It still is. I know every time a new style comes along, everybody goes, "Oh no, disco!" The musicians do, and it takes some of the business away. The clubs become disco clubs, and now it's like rap, and then rap takes some of the clubs away. So, but not all of them. It's just everything keeps spreading out and adding more and more stuff. There's still a lot of great music out there. We listen to it all the time. There's a lot of great musicians out there.
Yeah.
I think that you really, really have to buckle down and be real serious.
oh, that's
You
what
have to be really serious and put in your time. 10,000 hours of practice.
Yeah, that's what I was going to add to my statement to all the young musicians. Practice, work on it. You can't sit down with a guitar and play too much, I don't think, and sing too much. And that's tough to go into a room and just start singing. Unless you play guitar, that helps. But sometimes I just have to sing with nothing. You need to do that if you're going to play it. Yeah.
There's money evidently online now in blogs and different things like that. I see drummers that have their own channels, and they get sponsorships and things.
That's
that
how
helps.
music gets promoted too online,
Yes.
and create your following.
Right.
You don't have to play 270 dates a year like Aerosmith did to build a following.
Right.
Right.
Very
Yeah.
cool. Well, guys, thank you for being here. It's kind of good, to reconnect with you guys. 'Cause we
Yeah.
go way
Thank
back.
you, Jeff. It's great
And,
to talk to you.
I think we got a good recording here.
Okay.
And now you're archived for history for all time.
All right.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.